the only man that's got the same move with every club. I'm the only golfer with the feeling of greatness. I'm the only golfer living that's got the master move and the feeling of greatness.
So let me just open this up. So, hey, I'm super excited today. I have a very special guest who many of you already know if you're in the world of Moe Norman, but I have spent a lot of time with this gentleman. His name is Tim O'Connor, and Tim is the author of, I think, the greatest book ever written about Moe. Other people have written books about Moe, but nothing compares to the feeling of greatness. And I think well, I've had people tell me, it's not just my bias. I've had people tell me it's the greatest biography and golf book they've ever read. So Tim is the author of that book, and I've been a part of that book because Tim and I spent some time making sure that book was rewritten and put into its present and current form. So, and also Tim and I wrote a book called The Single Pine Golf Swing, Play Better Golf the Moe Norman Way. And I have to admit 100% that Tim wrote that book, and I was just a part of feeding the information out there because I really could never really write a book. I can write, I just can't write a book. But Tim is a great friend of mine, and he's an expert in Moe Norman. So I wanted Tim to come on the show. Tim, welcome to the Feeling of Greatness podcast. I've wanted to do this for a while. Matter of fact, we had this scheduled. I got a little under the weather. Didn't want to get on here and not be able to talk. So we're feeling better, and I'm glad to have you on the show.
All right. Well, it's a pleasure to be here, Todd. Always, like you said, man, we go back 20 years, I think, but it's wonderful, this relationship that we've had, business and mostly personal through the years. And, the glue to that was Moe. Now it's all kinds of things. But yeah, it's fun, man, to be flying the flag for Moe and keeping his legacy going, because it's such an amazing story, Moe Norman.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. I wanted to share this with you because yesterday I had the privilege of sitting down for 2.5 hours, which actually took me 4 hours, and went through the rough cut of the documentary, which is titled The Feeling of Greatness, which you've been a big part of. And it was, it was bittersweet looking through it because, God, we started this project in 2017. I hate to admit that because I didn't think it would take this long to get this thing done. But in the world of documentary filmmaking, I'm kind of glad it took this long. I think we still got a ways to go as far as obviously in the editing process. But I was thinking about you yesterday because you're in the documentary. You're one of the people that's interviewed, and you're in there quite a few times. Not that you'll make all the final cut, but you say some great things in there, and you have such a great perspective on Moe because I don't know if anybody's researched Moe more than you. And I don't know if anybody, just me personally knowing you, knowing how, how connected you are to people and how compassionate you are and the type of person you are, I don't think there was a better person to try to talk and discuss Moe Norman than you, because I've read these other books that these guys write, and they always look at it from this, I don't know what you call it. I think it's maybe a perspective of, and this may sound really weird, but too much admiration, or like they come across as like, in some of the questions I want to ask you, because I went through this, and these may be hard questions to answer, but I thought it'd be fun to talk about it here because we don't get to talk about this with the audience very much. But Moe Norman was a difficult guy. I mean, he just was. I mean, people always ask me the question, how did you get to know Moe and all this stuff? But there was obviously, I was fascinated by Moe, but he was not an easy guy to, number one, be around, get close to, and deal with in a lot of things. And the documentary kind of lays this thing out. Let me just run this through and I'll get your perspective on this. So what I had to do after watching this for 4 hours, and people who are kind of listening to this, to understand the documentary filmmaking process, which I'm an executive producer. So I'm just like, I pay for the thing, I get it funded, and I let experts do the work. But then they call me in because I know so much about Moe, and they said, hey, watch this. What do you think? And matter of fact, I want you to do the same thing, is sit through 4 hours of rough cut. So I'm going to call you. I may just fly you to Florida. We may just down there do one of our kitchen talks down there, where we just sit there
Oh
and watch
yeah,
it.
love that.
And
Love
we'll
that.
just get the popcorn out. But but let me run you through this. And so after I got home, I watched 2.5, 3 hours, 4 hours. Took me 4 hours to watch the whole thing because I had a little lunch break in there. But let me run you through the arc of the story, because there's no better person for me to walk you through the arc of this story. And I'm kind of giving the teaser here for the documentary in a way, and see what you think about it. The story starts out, obviously, a little bit about Moe's background, but everybody knows, anybody who knows Moe knows his background. But it goes into this idea that he was different, and why, and so one of the things that I'm trying to put into this documentary is question marks, because we don't know if he was autistic or not.
Yep.
But we know he was different. We don't know why he was different. Was it the sledding accident? So there's this big question mark there. So there's the first question mark. So what's your take on that? Because I'm gonna run you through my question marks. Because what I did is I laid out the entire kind of documentary into a 2-page document of the storyline, and then I just put question marks. What do you think about? You would know more than anybody. What do you think about that?
Well, a thing to put it in perspective for your listeners is the movie The Rain Man. When a lot of people saw that movie, whether it be people who knew of Moe Norman or even his good friends, they go, "That's Moe," the character played by Dustin Hoffman. And that was a judgment a lot of people made, because it seemed to make sense, because Moe was brilliant at math. You could throw all kinds of equations at him and you'd have a number like that. He had a photographic memory. Moe could tell you golf courses he played and the par of each hole and the distance. Mm-hmm. Golf courses he hadn't played in 25, 30 years. I mean, it was crazy. But also that he was in essence socially impaired. He just couldn't communicate well with people. So people came to this, he must be autistic on the spectrum. But I don't know that he was. I mean, some people, I do. So here, okay, let me start again here, or at least provide this. I asked his brothers and sisters about this, whether they thought, and they said that their understanding of autism is that there's a number of traits that show up right from infancy. The thing like you don't like, say, the sound of aluminum foil, or say drapes blowing in the breeze, that children who are on the spectrum get freaked out by that. They said that Moe in every way was just a regular kid. But once he had the accident, things changed. And so where Moe was struck by the car, Moe told me, I said, I asked him about it, and he pointed to his forehead. Well, the forehead is just behind that is the prefrontal cortex, which is known as the CEO of the brain, of your consciousness, where you make decisions, that kind of thing. And so the neuroscientists that I spoke to said that they lean towards Moe's difference, if you will, being from a brain injury. Mm. And what happened is that Moe started to develop traits. In essence, his brain adapted to the new circumstance, and thus it developed these skills that might align with people who are on the spectrum. But the key thing is, man, we don't know.
Yeah.
There's no autopsy done on Moe. And to me, at the end of the day, I don't think it effing matters. It really doesn't.
Right.
He was just a different cat.
Yeah. So it's interesting, though, because as my mind is just kind of into the flow of this story, is that so he starts, because of whatever his personality traits, and to me, I think you have to have this compulsive behavior to be a good golfer. I think it's part of being a good golfer. Number one, it's a solitary sport. Number two is you're kind of you, yourself, me, myself, and I. I mean, there's, it's so, and Moe was like built for that. I find myself with those traits sometimes. That's why when I was a kid, I just loved to be by myself hitting balls in a field for hours and hours and hours. And so there's this compulsive behavior to golf. It's not a team sport. It's a you and a golf club and a golf ball. And so Moe finds himself drawn to it because that's where number one, he's this antisocial, got this he's a different character. So golf fits him perfectly. So he excels at it. And then to the point of him saying, wow, I can be good at this. Maybe I can get some, because I'm so insecure and because I don't fit in, maybe I can get some identity here. Like I can find my identity in this sport. That to me is what happens. Now, another question mark is, he was so socially insecure, did that help him or hurt him? Because it obviously helped him in a lot of ways develop these skills, which I think you almost have to be a great golfer. But then as he tried to be an adult and survive in a world where it's more than just golf, which he didn't get that. He didn't get that. I thought I was shoot 61 and go home. I didn't think I had to say thank you. So the question mark is, did it help him more than hurt him more? So that was my next thing. What do you think about that? I mean, what do you think about the fact that there was a lot of self-sabotage in Moe?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was like we could blame the world for, and look, there's plenty of stories about Moe getting kicked off the national team and all those stories about Moe. But in a way, Moe was so innocent. Like he was an innocent guy. Like that's totally. The thing, you look at him, you're like, he's just so innocent. He's childlike. He's innocent. He doesn't get it. But he gets penalized for stuff he really didn't know. So it's like, but did he do it to himself? It's just like there's this. That was what I was so intrigued when I was watching this. The film was like, I'm looking at Moe, and so here's the thing about when I'm watching this film, where it is right now. I'm watching Moe, and Moe's discussing these things, and you would almost say he's kind of normal. I mean, he's kind of normal, but I only caught him in the last part of his life. Like you would probably know more than me about when he was in Canada, 35 years old. Who is that Moe compared to the 64-year-old Moe that I met that was kind of figuring out that he had to kind of be more social, even though he still had some awkwardness and all that stuff. So do you think, my question to you is, how much self-sabotage was it? And how much was it the world just shitting on him?
Well, both. How's that?
Yeah, that was my conclusion, but I want to hear it from you.
Yeah, certainly both. I mean, just to kind of reflect a bit generally before diving in, Moe's story, it's a bittersweet one. I mean, there's some parts of what make it great. Moe's story is that, the resilience, he just kept going and going. And, it's the little guy, if you will, and he becomes regarded as the best ball striker in the world. But his story was also sad. And I think part of it is that he was so insecure. He had such an inferiority complex. But golf became this solace to him, this thing that he could dive into and feel safe and develop a sense of mastery, whether it was conscious or not. I am a golfer. I don't know. And I know that Moe, when I spoke to him, when I was interviewing him, he was in his 60s and he's kind of talking, well, I'll show them. Could have been. I mean, one of the things I learned from dealing with, whether it was Moe Norman or older golfers, is they tend to believe their own stories after a while. You've probably run into that too. Mm. So I don't know if it was like, I am a golfer, I'm going to show them. I think it's just that he became driven because he got so much satisfaction isn't really the right word, but just the feelings he get. That's why the feeling of greatness works.
Yeah.
Golf gave him a feeling of peace and security. When he would say, when I have a golf stick in my hand, that's where I want to be.
Supreme confidence. Yeah.
Yeah. Like he knew that. So I just think that from that experience of struggling in that outer world, with other kids, young adults, and, being unable to converse, not knowing anything about the world around him. Mo knew golf and sports a little bit. Anything beyond that, he didn't understand it. And so there was this unbelievable complex of insecurity and not fitting in. But when he had the golf stick in his hand hitting balls, that was his place. He felt, that he was just in this place where he was okay. But
Well,
the problem with that,
I got something I want to talk to you because this is what I've been dying to talk to you about this. What was I watching? I was watching, I went to a conference in Las Vegas, and there was a lot of really, really well-known guest speakers, Mark Wahlberg, Dana White, Tom Brady. Wow. It was just an A-list of people. And it was just a sit-down chat. And the questions being asked, now we couldn't ask questions. We were just, spectators, but the questions being asked were very good. They were the questions I would have asked. And they were motivational questions like what motivates you? What motivated you to look, becoming a great athlete, becoming great at anything? It's freaking hard. And we only see the successful side of it, and we see the millions of dollars these people make. We don't see them crying themselves to sleep when they're 14 years old because whatever happened to them. But then we can talk to them and hear about this stuff. And one of the most motivating factors, I was taking notes because I was like, what motivates these people? Or what was the motivating factor that got them through everything? And what keeps them motivated? And I told Tracy, my wife, I said, they're fathers. But it was like Stephen A. Smith. Or there's another speaker there, Oprah's husband. And he goes, I'm known as Oprah's husband. He was there speaking as well. But their fathers had told them at one point in their life, you'll amount to nothing. You're a nobody. You're a loser. You're stupid. There was something that was from their father. And it wasn't always a positive motivation. It wasn't the father going, I love you. You're going to be successful. It was always the father. And they turned that into a driver. They turned that into a driver. Might happen to Mo too.
Mm-hmm.
His father disapproved of his golf. So maybe there was an element here of Mo seeking approval. Like I play golf. My dad doesn't like it, but I'm going to show him that I can golf and I can be something. I'm going to show him because he was close to his father. I mean, from what I heard and from Sandy and some of the people that have talked about Mo, he was close to his father. He did not dislike his father. But he had this kind of like, I want his approval so badly that there was that tension there. I mean, that's the way I felt about it. And you wrote about it.
Well, the fathers, the influence of fathers. I've done a lot of work with men in personal growth and emotional healing work through a group I belonged to for about 20 years, the Mankind Project. And when men do, like we call it work, like some process work, it's almost 90% of the time father work. Dad didn't believe in me, told me I was an effing loser, like you alluded to, or he was absent, or something. But so much of what our fathers, model for us we take messages from that about our own value as a person. And those messages that we write, whether we're 3 years old, 6, 9, 12, or whatever, they stay with us our whole lives. And so it might have been that Mo was, getting a sense of, because the message Mo got from his father and from his family initially when he got into golf is that, who do you think you are?
It's a rich man's sport. It's
all of that.
You don't fit in here, all that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who do you think you are? And, there's even a story, and I don't know if it's, apocryphal, AKA, untrue, is that his father buried his clubs underneath the stairs or something, and Moe had to dig them
Well,
out.
Mo said that, now Mo says that. I mean, we have
Yeah, I know.
an interview. Saying that.
Through Moe, and like I said, I was saying earlier, you have to take some of these things, it's like Moe said that remember what Moe would say about the club face is square to the target 22 inches after impact? No, it wasn't.
Well, when it comes to a swing, like no one has to deal with this more than me about a swing. Like I literally every day, people are saying Mo said this, and I'm like, okay, but hang on.
Yeah.
I researched it. I dug into this. It's like feelings and real, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, but back to so let's just tie that up about Mo, and his dad and what he had to prove. Yeah, there's a lot there. When I talked to Mo, we didn't talk a lot about his dad. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you can ask people about questions and they don't go there.
What was, I don't know if we have this in the documentary or not, but I do know, and I don't know if it's an interview I did with Mo or if it's some other footage of Mo, but the story was that Mo left when he was 16, 17, left home. Do you remember what his age?
I think it was late teens because he didn't have any. Yeah, late teens because he didn't have anywhere else to live. He couldn't afford it.
And when he went down to Florida, when he came back, his father had passed away. So yes. there was this void. There was this vacuum there because here I am. I want to come back and share this with my father, maybe even prove to him that, I'm having success and he couldn't do it. There was a lot there. And when we have these conversations about fathers and stuff, they scare the shit out of me. I mean, they absolutely scare the shit out of me. And the reason is because think of a fatherless world, like without a father, right? That's scary. And then think of our influence as human beings, like you and me, me being a grandfather now, you being a father. Are you a grandfather yet?
Not yet.
Yeah. Well,
there's no hope of it for a few years anyway.
It's coming.
And I'm okay with it.
Yeah. But God, we have such a responsibility as fathers and adults, and holy shit, we need to take that seriously. And I think about it because I'm watching this conference and I'm just like, oh my God. I go, this, like you said, 90% in the Mankind Project of the work you do is dealing with father issues. I have personally dealt with that. I know my brother has personally dealt with that. And I know you've dealt with it. And I know every man has dealt with that. And it's such an important healing thing to figure out. And if we don't, we inflict pain on the world. Or we suffer, or we just go through suffering. Just like that's what I saw in Mo. That may be a bigger part of the story that we need to look into,
Mm-hmm.
But it's both fascinating and scary as crap to me.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll try and be brief with this, but we even see it today with Tiger Woods. Mm-hmm. Tiger Woods didn't learn how to be a man from Earl. No. Earl was one of the worst stage fathers you can imagine. And so that was the model Tiger had. Didn't have a childhood, basically. Yeah. So how does that manifest itself now? I still think that Tiger, like a boy, doesn't want to take responsibility. When he crashed the car in 2021, I didn't hear Tiger talking about, I was driving too fast and all that. He didn't really talk about it at all. And the stupid prank he pulled with Justin Thomas, he said, if I offended anybody, and no, that's what I call a Weasley non-apology apology. Yeah. And the point is what strong fathers do is they teach you how to be a man, which is like, I take responsibility. Mm-hmm. I did it or whatever, and I'm going to learn. Doesn't mean you're an idiot. I don't even think saying sorry that's not worth anything. It's I take responsibility for my actions and their consequences. And that puts you, a little bit more in control of your life. You don't actually control your life, but that's a whole other topic.
Yeah.
We really don't. But anyways, so for Mo, I was reflecting when you were talking, say 5 minutes or so ago. I mean, it's a complex story because Mo was one of the most complex guys we've ever come across in sports. He really is. He could do all this, but so here's a guy who became arguably the best ball striker who ever lived. I mean, that is not just fans like you and me saying it. It was people
Yeah.
like Ken Venturi saying
Well,
it,
here's what's
Tiger
interesting.
saying it. So the best ball striker who ever lived. However, he couldn't make it on the PGA Tour.
Well, here's what's interesting. So Jason, Jason, right? Jason, who's one of the producers of the film.
Yes.
And doing a lot of the editing. So Jason, so what's interesting about our team is, you and I come from this background of, I'm a professional golfer. You're an avid golfer and a writer, and you wrote Moe Story. But then you have Jason over here. Jason's a non-golfer, and he's looking at this from pure storyline perspective. And, the character of Moe Norman, not from a golfing perspective. So Jason actually, and I didn't really instruct too much, but kind of the whole take on this thing was, don't make this about golf. Make it about Moe and the person. Golf's in there because that's his identity. But anyway, so Jason kind of took this idea of, let's not make it all about golf. And so Jason and I are sitting there, and we're about an hour and a half into the preview yesterday, watching the work that they've done. And Jason turns to me and he goes, so how do you think we should present the golf swing part of the film? And I said, here's my take on it. It's a discovery. To me, Moe discovered something. And because of the way he was, because of his personality, because of the way he was wired, because of his ability to hyper focus on something, and his desire to get a golf ball to go dead straight, he discovered something. Now, the other question mark I wanted to put on top of this film was, did he discover the best way? And, and David Owen, who wrote the story of Moe in the Golf Digest in 1995, says, maybe everybody should swing this way. Who knows? So to me, it's another big question. And of course, I teach Moe swing, so I'm biased on this whole thing. But it is this whole idea that this guy may have discovered something that just simplified the game and could simplify it for everybody. And again, I want to leave that as a question mark. But I thought it was interesting that Jason was saying, now, how do we present this? Like, he didn't want to present it as like, let's get into technical aspects of Moe's swing. I wanted to present it as this unique individual who was wired a certain way, looked at the game from a different perspective, approached the game differently, and then played it differently, and then figured something out. And that's what that's what all the pros were like admiring. And that's what we all admired. And he figured out a way to get the ball to go straight and all this stuff. So I think it adds that other question mark to the whole thing, which I love. I love that question mark because that's right up my alley.
No, well, I love the direction you're going in. And I agree with you. What will make the documentary, the reason people will be drawn to it is the story of the man. I remember when The Feeling of Greatness first came out, my book in 95, my sister-in-law, who was not a golfer, she said she loved it.
Yeah.
But because it was the story of the man, and like you just, what the challenge for a writer or a documentary filmmaker like yourself is to stay out of the way.
Yeah.
And allow that great story to tell itself in many ways. But there are things that I think that are really worth noting. And to me, Moe, the reason I think one of the key reasons that Moe was able to discover this very efficient way of hitting a golf ball, I'll let you and others debate whether it's the best way, but Moe he didn't judge whether it was the right or wrong way. I mean, you talk about mindfulness. Moe was always in the present moment. You talked about hyper focus. So Moe did things. He stood in such a way and tried certain things, and it worked for him. Whereas others, you can't stand that way. You can't have your right hand underneath the club like that. You can't have your feet that wide apart. You can't be bent away like that. Other golfers would, through their own judgments, wouldn't even pay attention to their own experience
or preconceived ideas. Like he didn't have any preconceived ideas. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm sure you have this all the time. So I do a fair amount of range coaching now. We're on the golf course with people, and oh man, you'll have the person you talk to and they make a swing and go, well, I'm supposed to do this. I'm like,
yeah. Oh God.
Really? Who says?
Daily.
Well, the guys on YouTube or something. I'm like, dude, what I'm trying to say to them is your pay attention to your experience, to what you feel and what happens for you. And you see, and I think that's what Moe did. Moe did not pay attention because one of the things that happened to Moe all the time when he first started coming out and playing in invitationals and events in Ontario, people would look at him and go, they just see how he would stand there, wide, arms straight, legs straight, head tilted back, all this. And they go, well, you can't play that. A good player doesn't hit like that. And then pow, he'd hit the ball. Pow, he'd hit the ball. And like, whoa, what are we seeing here?
One thing that, and this is interesting, and that I saw, like, God, anytime I watch Moe and I just see different things. I mean, it's just like watching a movie. You kind of catch different things.
Yeah.
Obviously, you and I would agree that Moe was very tuned in to his feelings, maybe more than anybody. That's why he could sit and basically tune into maybe his golf swing. But what I found when I watched him explain himself, whether it was him talking to Lauren Rubenstein or describing something, there was this level of vulnerability that always comes out in him. It's like he was willing to share the vulnerability very quickly, which I found interesting, which meant that there's like this filter's gone, like this wall is down. It's like, he's like, yeah, I just, I didn't feel good. Why didn't you stay around for the tournament? And why did you walk off? Because I didn't feel like I fit in. I didn't feel like I was supposed to be there. He would just go into this vulnerable, like you and I would probably have a hard time admitting that. We'd probably say, oh, well, I had stuff to do, but he was like, I just didn't feel like, yeah. And I just found that he was willing to share his vulnerability. And I don't know if he was always like that, but in a lot of the footage, I really loved that part of Moe because he was like, I just didn't feel right. I couldn't do it because I just felt bad. And I was like, wow, it's pretty interesting how vulnerable he gets, and he's willing to share that. Yeah. Unashamed that I just, it just wasn't me,
Well, I think it gets back to kind of what I was talking about earlier. Moe didn't have this sense that he needed to meet expectations. I mean, outside of the golf course, yes, he was so self-conscious of the way he spoke and the way people would react to him that he basically stayed away from them. But with the golf stick, that was he was just who he was. He would just be.
Yeah.
It's just who he was. And one of the things that Lauren said, he said, Moe was a man without guile. So Moe wouldn't ever mislead you. He wouldn't tell, Moe didn't tell lies. And Moe he just didn't have that part of him in it because he wasn't trying to overcome something. He wasn't trying to make you think that he was something he was not. That didn't happen for him. And so what the connection I'm making is that when Moe swung a golf club, he was present and authentic to his experience. And he didn't feel the need to come up with a story to show that, he was overcoming, like, oh, they don't want to know. I don't want them to know that I was nervous or shy or I didn't know what to say. So no, he would just say that's what happened for him because he was just this direct. So yeah, I mean, you said earlier, innocent. Yeah. All things like that. And that's part of what I think was the phrase I've used often is the beauty of Moe. He was like a straight arrow in life and that worked for and against him.
There was a playfulness about him too, where, and this is where it gets interesting to me because, okay, so here you have a guy who knows he doesn't fit in, but he's supremely confident when he gets on the golf course. But he's willing to, in the middle of a tournament, hit off tees, hit off Coke bottles, do this crazy antic stuff to draw attention to himself, right? Lay down in the fairway because it's going too slow, all the stories. And it's like, okay, this is where I get to the point. Did he bring it on himself? Like, okay, listen, where's the buffer where that's not accepted? And, people are always saying, well, you've said it. And he got basically he got shamed off of the tour because of his behaviors. Well, I can't go lay down. I can't go play a PJ Tour event and lay down in the fairway and win a slow play. There's got to be some rules here,
Yeah.
So while I love that about Mo, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think it's freaking hilarious and I love it. And I think I would have been a big fan of his, if I was watching him play in tournaments. I would have followed him everywhere because I'd want to see this stuff because entertainment is everything to me because that's what the game is. And he saw it that way. He saw golf as an entertaining thing. Why is everybody so serious out here? So, but he did bring it on himself.
But Mo had a lack of awareness, which you see in children.
Yep.
See, children will just play.
True.
And, that's my truck. Grig it back, not him. So, maybe Jim wants to play with my truck and I'll let Jim. No, there's lack of consciousness of awareness of your impacts on others. And so Mo was in many ways I think that led to what you talked about, his vulnerability, the straight arrow part of him. And it's just, it was fun. He'd just go with it.
Yeah.
I mean, and that was like, but that would go the other way too. When he would get angry, he would go off the charts. I mean, Mike Martz, who was one of Mo's best friends, he said it was always if you saw Mo and Mo's eyes would be all red and he goes, oh my God. And he's got to, quiet Mo down or get him simmered down. I forget who it was. It was a golf professional in around the Greater Toronto area. And Mo would go around and visit his friends and his golf professional friends. So he went to this one golf course and he's sitting in the golf shop. And I think it's I forget exactly what the story goes, but it was either a relatively new course or something, or Mo hadn't seen it before. And the members come in. Hey, Mo, what do you think of our golf course? Ooh, go ranch. Terrible, terrible.
Oh, no.
Yeah. No. And, the golf professor's going, whoa, Mo. It's terrible. Oh, my God, whoever.
Yeah. That you had to
throw
be
it in
careful.
jail, whoever designed this thing.
You had to be careful. It was funny because when I told you, and I haven't shared this story very much, but it's, but when Fox came to interview Mo, they sent a reporter down and we were in Titusville, obviously at the course, and we were sitting around this table and Mo would talk to this reporter because the guy was Mo, if you didn't ask the right questions and Mo immediately picked up on the fact that you didn't have a clue about the game of golf, he was going to cut you off. So this reporter starts asking these questions and they were, pretty non-golf educated questions. Mo, do you like
inane? No doubt.
Yeah. And so I started asking questions. Now I'm sitting off camera and then he would ask the question and Mo would answer it. So I became like this. It was like this ping pong match of asking questions and a ball would bounce one way and Mo would ask the question and it looked like he was asking it. So we get through this interview and they said, well, we want some film of Mo going to eat. So we take off to Shoney's, which was Mo's place where he could eat a buffet. Yes. And so we walk in there.
Scary person he was in buffets.
Yeah, he was like, you've been here 4 hours. So we walk in there and we're sitting there and it was just awkward because the camera crew was trying to show Mo in his solitude. And I was walking by Mo and they made me kind of wait back and Mo's looking for me. It was just a weird deal. But we sit down and Mo makes one trip through the buffet line and he's sitting there eating. And he's sitting right next to me to the right. And so he has to get up to get some more. So he comes back and he gets some more stuff. And he's got like macaroni and cheese and piles of burgers. And it's just this plate. And he gets about halfway through the second plate. So he's just sitting there. And the waitress comes over and she's kind of a heavy set lady. And she says, hey, honey, can I grab that plate? Are you done? And he says, yeah, I don't want to be fat like you. That's what he says. And so we just kind of just melted under the table. Like it was just kind of like this, oh God. But it was just that, it's just like, it's like a 10-year-old. Like he didn't know what he said. He didn't know what he said. He didn't have that. Like, I hope I don't hurt somebody's feelings part. That buffer was gone,
and so filter was never there.
So what you spent your time doing, which I did a lot when I was around Mo, I cleaned up behind him all the time.
All the time.
You had to clean up. You had to play the cleanup crew and go back to. I'm sorry, my buddy just he just kind of liked that, so that's fine, what blah, 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 and so you just kind of, give her an extra tip and tell her you're sorry and move on. And he just kind of did the cleanup crew behind Mo all the time. But I did a lot of that.
Oh,
So.
yeah. Well, I remember it was cleanup behind Mo, but it was also doing the pre-work.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because I did, I remember doing for CBC Radio, which is the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation up here in Canada. I did a radio documentary on Mo, and they wanted to get some like real professional footage of audio of Mo talking and hitting balls and all that kind of stuff. And when we first got there, I said, Mo, we'll meet you at Carlisle Golf Course. And well, the CBC guys go up. Mo says, no, I'm not talking to them. Why would I want to talk to them? Ooh. No, I have nothing to say to those guys. And they don't know anything about golf. And oh my God, it was like for 15, 20 minutes trying to convince Mo that, look, Mo, he already trusted me. But they're good guys. They're going to do the best. And Mo, I'm going to make sure that it's, what they have is good. And I had to do the same thing with CBC TV when they did a documentary on Mo as well. And oh God, that was just so. But didn't you have the story of? Oh goodness, remember the story you told about natural golf, and I think they set up these. Oh yeah, the shoot with the bleachers and everything. Why don't you tell that story?
Well, no, there's two clinics that I did with Mo. So the first one was every year at the PGA show, we would get together and invite people out to. At this point, we're on the 10th hole somewhere at a golf course, and we invite people out. And there was like 200 people had shown up. And we had already gathered around the 10th tee, and we're waiting for Mo, and Mo no shows. He just doesn't show up. I mean, time comes and he's there. I'm in the parking lot kind of going, where is he? And Larry Olson, the president of Natural Golf, comes to me and says, Todd, guess what? He goes, you're the one that's going to have to go out there and hit balls for these guys. Now, they're not there to see me hit golf balls. They're there to see Moe Norman hit golf balls. So I'm like, this sucks. Well, so I remember Larry gets out there in front of the crowd, and this is what Larry's class act. Larry goes, there's all these stories about Moe Norman that we've all heard. He goes, guess what? You're now one of them. And I thought it was great.
Oh, Larry, that's classic.
It's classic.
Oh, good for him.
But then Mo, somehow somebody sees Mo at the show. One of our guys that worked for the company sees Mo at the show and just says, Mo, get in, and drives him over there because he knows the clinic's happening, and makes Mo show up. So it was kind of like this, you kidnap Mo to get him there. Well, and the story you're talking about. So there is a driving range called B&B. I'll never forget driving range, and somewhere near Tampa. Might be towards St. Pete, but it was down towards the Tampa area. And they were opening this driving range. And it was this massive deal, like big event, 3 tiers in the driving range. So Larry says, we need to film this event. We have a crane out there. We've spent $15,000 to bring in a camera crew. We got bleachers set up, and we go across. No, let me just paint this picture of me spending a day with Mo. I'm in Orlando most of the time. So I drive to Titusville an hour, pick up Mo. Then I have to drive to Tampa, which is 2.5 hours. Then I got to drive 2.5 hours back to drop Mo off. Then I got to drive back to Orlando. So that's a typical day doing a clinic with Mo, because we don't. First of all, we know his history of not showing up at the clinic, so we're not letting that happen. Don't let Mo get in a car because he won't show up. So we go over to pick up Mo. And he's on, Mo, when you'd show up at the golf course, Mo would be putting around the green. He'd probably putt all day long. I don't know if he even hit balls that much anymore. He would just putt, maybe play 9 holes, but I always cut him on the green. And I walk over to him and I said, Mo, are you ready to go? He goes, can't go. I'm like, listen, I go, why can't you go? And he goes, oh, there's storms, there's tornadoes. And so Larry's panicking because Mo's not going. We got to be down there. We got to take off. Larry's calling the crew, the camera crew, going, cancel the crane. We're just trying to kind of salvage the whole deal. And Mo just will not go. We have the van ready, and so Larry goes, we can't wait. We got to go. We got to go. I'm like, oh crap. It's going to be me back on stage again. So we're walking to the car and Larry's on the phone and everybody's panicking. And I go, let me give it one last shot. So I walked back over to Mo and I said, Mo, do you know where I'm from? He goes, Oklahoma. I go, have you ever been there? He goes, no, never been there. And I go, what we have in Oklahoma that we have more of than anywhere in the world? I go, tornadoes. I go, I know exactly what to do if we see a tornado. And all of a sudden, Mo just kind of walks over, picks up his bag and starts walking towards the car. And he puts his clubs in the back of the car. And Larry turns to me and goes, what did you say? I said, I have no idea. I really have no idea what I said. All I know is just get in that damn car and let's get down to Tampa. So we got him to go. But then we get down there and Mo is in one of those bad moods. Like he's not in a good mood because he feels like he's being, he doesn't want to do the clinic. And so we're driving down there and there's a couple other stories, but he was just always like argumentative about, so we get there and we pull into the parking lot. And now imagine this 200-yard tee box. And on the very far end of the tee box, 200 yards away, there's these bleachers set up and it's packed. Like there's radios, crews set up. The camera guys aren't there because we canceled them, but everything else is ready to go. Mo sees a bucket of balls. He gets out of the car in the parking lot. I'm grabbing a hot dog at the hot dog stand. Mo looks over and sees these balls sitting on the ground, just sitting in the dirt. Like there's a bucket of balls sitting there. He grabs his club, sets it down and starts hitting them. And so the guy who's running the whole show freaks out. And he comes running over to me and he goes, Todd, you got to stop Mo because you got to stop him because we get I go, here's the deal. I said, there is a clinic, Moe Norman clinic happening, and it's happening right here, right now. And so all those people came over there and watched Mo basically hit balls out of this dirt, and the bleachers didn't even use them, didn't even see them. Oh. And I think, that was Mo kind of gaining control of the situation. Like, I'm going to just run the show here. I'm doing my thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, the beauty of Mo in a way, the trouble he caused people is like, it's aged everybody. But like I said, it's sort of like, like a child, it's like a 2-year-old. Yeah, we got to go to daycare and it's raining. So you got to put your raincoat on. Don't want to. No, but you got to put your raincoat on because you're going to be so don't want to. And it's the same thing. This absolute lack of awareness of other people. And that's what made Mo sometimes, as you said earlier, like cantankerous, irascible. And you would kind of go like, what the hell's the problem here?